Most people believe that I can wake up in the morning and decide, choose to be happy, and then I'll actually become happier. In fact, the opposite is the case. People who wake up in the morning and have the goal of becoming happier, or say to themselves, happiness is important for me, I choose it, I want to become it, I'm pursuing it, they actually end up being less happy. Now we have a problem on many levels. First of all, we know that happiness is important. It feels good to feel good. We know that happiness, I've just said that, leads to more success. We want to be happy. We want our children to be happy. We want our loved ones to be happy. There are courses on happiness, people teaching it. And yet, if I wake up in the morning and say, I choose to be happy, I want to be happy, happiness is important for me, I'll actually become less happy. How do we deal with that problem, with that issue, with that paradox? And the answer is that we pursue happiness only indirectly. So let me give you an analogy. You walk out onto the street, it's midday. The sun is out. You look up at the sun directly. What happens? You hurt yourself. Your eyes are burning. You tear up. So looking at the sun directly, that hurts. However, what if you have a prism, a glass prism, and you put it on the ground, and then the sun hits through it, and then you look at the sun indirectly through the prism? Well, then what are you looking at? You're looking at the colors of the rainbow. You can savor it. You can enjoy it. You can derive benefit from it. So looking at it directly, that hurts. Looking at it indirectly, that contributes to our well-being, that we can enjoy, savor, appreciate. It's the same with happiness. Saying that I want to be happy. Happiness is important for me. It's valuable, and pursuing it directly, that will lead to less happiness. It will hurt us. However, if I pursue it indirectly, meaning I break it down into its elements, and then I pursue those elements, in other words, the metaphorical colors of the rainbow, that's when I can become happy. Now, the question is, what are these metaphorical colors of the rainbow? So when you take happiness as, as a package, and you break it down, just like you break white light into the different colors, what are those colors? What are those elements? In our courses, we teach about 5 such elements. Broadly speaking, these elements have sub-elements as well. But these 5 elements are captured by our SPIRE model of happiness. SPIRE, S-P-I-R-E, of happiness. The first letter, S, of the SPIRE stands for spiritual well-being. Spiritual well-being is about, it can be, of course, about religion. It is for many people. But more generally, it's about finding a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. Doing something that's important, that matters to you. It's about being present, being mindful in the here and now. So that's spiritual well-being. So if I wake up in the morning and say, I want to be happy, I'll actually become less happy. But if I wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to meditate a few minutes today, or I'm going to pursue a career that is meaningful to me, that's important, that's indirectly pursuing happiness, and that's how I can increase it. That's looking at the sunlight indirectly. So that's spiritual well-being. Physical well-being. Physical well-being, that's about nutrition. It's about exercise. It's about sleep. It's about touch. So, for example, regular exercise, 30 minutes 3 times a week, has the same effect as our most powerful psychiatric medication. Eating healthfully doesn't just make us physically healthier, and I'm not talking about going to the extreme and all of us becoming vegans. But doing some basic things, eating certain foods and not eating others, can go a long way in increasing our levels of well-being. Getting a good night's sleep, all these things are indirect ways of pursuing happiness, because if I wake up in the morning and say, I want to be happy, or happiness is important for me, that's not going to help. Whereas if I start exercising 3 times a week, that will make me happier if I haven't been exercising before. Or if I change my diet slightly, we're talking about small changes here that can significantly increase my levels of well-being indirectly. The third element, the I of Spire. So we have spiritual, physical, SP, I of Spire, intellectual well-being. That's about learning. That's about curiosity. That's about deeply delving into a text or a movie or nature. You know, people who ask questions, who are curious, who learn, who are lifelong learners, are not just happier. They're not just more successful, which they are. They're also healthier and actually live longer. So curiosity kills the cat. It does the opposite to human beings. So once again, if I engage in learning, in asking questions, whether it's, watching TED lectures or reading books or going for walks, immersing myself in nature or studying art and savoring art, these are all indirect ways of increasing happiness. Spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational. Number one predictor of happiness, quality time we spend with people we care about and who care about us. That doesn't mean that they're perfect or that we're perfect. It doesn't mean that we're always happy when we're around them. But overall, spending with people who are close to us, and they could be romantic partners, they could be colleagues at work, they could be best friends, they could be extended family. It actually doesn't matter. Spending time with them contributes to our happiness. Being kind, being generous doesn't just help others, it also helps ourselves. That's relational well-being. And finally, emotional well-being, the E of Spire. Emotional well-being is about cultivating pleasurable emotions, such as pleasure, such as joy, such as excitement, interest, love. These are all pleasurable emotions that cultivating them, of course, contributes to our overall happiness. Happiness is not just about pleasure, but pleasure certainly is part of happiness.